Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yes, welcome.
Today we're going deep into South Korea.
Very excited about this one.
Yeah, this will be a fun one, I think.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be looking at South Korea kind of from all these different angles.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be talking about the economy.
Yeah.
We're gonna be talking about K-pop.
Of course, gotta talk about K-pop.
We're gonna be talking about the Korean wave.
Yeah,
And kind of all the things that make this country so fascinating.
absolutely.
So to start off with,
Yeah.
South Korea's economic transformation has been nothing short of incredible.
It really has.
You know, I was reading that after the Korean War, it was one of the poorest nations in the world.
Yeah, devastated by the war.
Yeah, and now it's like the 11th largest economy globally.
It's remarkable.
Crazy.
The miracle on the Han River, they call it.
Yeah. So how did this happen?
Well, a lot of factors contributed, but one of the key things was the government's push for export-oriented industrialization.
Okay, so like focusing on making things they could sell to the rest of the world.
Exactly. They really targeted the global market right from the start.
And that's where I guess those cables come in, right?
Yes, the cables played a huge role.
Okay, so for those of us who maybe aren't totally familiar with cables,
Sure.
can you kind of break down what they are?
Yeah, so basically imagine like a family business, but on a massive scale.
Right.
We're talking huge conglomerates like Samsung, LG, Hyundai.
Yeah, I've heard of those.
Yeah, companies that are involved in all sorts of industries.
So it's like one family controlling a ton of different businesses?
Yeah, they have their hands in everything, electronics, construction, shipbuilding, you name it.
Wow, so they're like these mini economies within the larger Korean economy?
Pretty much, and they've been really instrumental in driving South Korea's economic growth.
But I've also heard some like controversial things about cables.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a darker side to the story.
We'll have to get into that later.
For sure, we'll dive deeper into that later.
Um, but for now, let's talk about something a little bit more fun.
Okay, sounds good.
The Korean wave.
Ah.
K-pop, K-dramas, K-beauty. It's taking over the world.
It really is a global phenomenon.
Why do you think it's so popular?
Well, I think part of it is that they're producing really high quality content.
Yeah, the production value is incredible.
Yeah, and they're really good at storytelling.
Yeah, the music videos, the dramas, they're very captivating.
They know how to draw you in.
And visually, it's stunning.
Oh, absolutely. From the futuristic cityscapes to those ancient temples.
Yeah, it's this really cool mix of old and new.
And I think that appeals to a lot of people.
But it's not all sunshine and rainbows in South Korea.
Unfortunately, no.
There are some serious societal pressures.
Definitely.
And one of the most concerning is the mental health crisis.
Yeah, South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates in the world.
It's heartbreaking, and it really highlights the darker side of this success story.
Absolutely. It shows that there's a lot of pressure to succeed in South Korean society.
So what contributes to this mental health crisis?
Well, the education system is incredibly competitive.
We've all heard about those crazy cram schools, right?
Yeah, Hegwons, they put a lot of pressure on kids from a young age.
It's like they're always on this treadmill of achievement.
And that continues into adulthood with the work culture.
Long hours, rigid hierarchy.
Yep. It's a very demanding environment.
So it's like this constant pressure to
I think
perform.
that takes a toll on mental health.
It's a really complex issue.
Definitely.
But is there a stigma around mental health in South Korea?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of shame associated with mental health issues.
So people are less likely to seek help.
Exactly. They try to keep it hidden.
It's like they're trapped in this cycle of pressure and silence.
And that can have devastating consequences.
So we've talked about the economic miracle, the Korean wave, and the pressures that many South Koreans face. It's clear that this is a country of contrasts.
Definitely a lot of light and shadow.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
So in the next part, we're going to delve deeper into the world of the cables,
Looking forward to that.
their influence, their controversies, and their impact on South Korean society.
Should be interesting.
Stay tuned.
See you then. Welcome back to our deep dive into South Korea.
All right, so we spent the last part talking about, South Korea's incredible rise as an economic powerhouse,
Yeah, they've come a long way.
but also kind of touched on some of those darker sides, right? Like the pressure to succeed
Exact.
and the mental health challenges that many people face.
It's a complex picture.
It is. And today we're going to delve even deeper into one of the most fascinating and controversial aspects of South Korea,
This should be good.
the cables.
Ah, yes, the cables.
And we briefly touched on them in the last part.
We did.
But now it's time to really unpack their story.
Right, because their influence extends far beyond just the economy.
Exactly.
They shape so much of Korean society and culture.
Yeah, so Can you remind us again what exactly are cables?
Sure. So basically, imagine like a family-run business, but on a massive scale. I
Okay.
mean, we're talking about these giant conglomerates that own tons of different businesses across various industries.
Like what kind of industries?
Oh, everything. Electronics, construction, shipbuilding, finance, you name it.
Wow. So it's not just one company, it's like whole network of companies under one family's control.
Exactly. And that gives them incredible power and influence.
Which brings us to the controversy, right?
Ah, yes. The cables are not without their critics.
I mean, it sounds like they have a lot of power.
They do, and that power has sometimes been misused.
Can you give us some examples?
Oh, there are plenty of examples over the years.
Like what?
Well, there have been numerous scandals involving bribery, corruption, tax evasion.
Yikes, that doesn't sound good.
No, it's not. And these scandals have really eroded public trust in the cables.
I can imagine.
People start to question whether these families are really acting in the best interest of the country or just their own.
Yeah, because if they're so powerful, they could potentially influence things in their favor.
Exactly. And that's a major concern for a lot of people.
So it sounds like there's this tension between the benefits that cables bring to the economy and the potential downsides of their concentrated power.
That's the dilemma, and there's no easy answer.
And it's not just about economics, right?
No, their influence seeps into politics, society, even culture.
So how do regular South Koreans feel about the cables?
It's a mixed bag, honestly.
Like, what do you mean?
Well, on the one hand, there's a sense of pride, I think, especially with companies like Samsung that are globally recognized.
Yeah, I can see that.
They've put Korea on the map in many ways.
But on the other hand,
There's also resentment and distrust.
because of the scandals and the power imbalance?
Exactly. People feel like the cables have too much control and that it's stifling competition and innovation.
So it's a complicated relationship.
Very complicated, and it's a conversation that continues to evolve.
Well, speaking of innovation,
Yes.
South Korea is also known for being a leader in something else. That's pretty cool.
What's that?
Esports.
Ah, yes.
I mean, they dominate the global gaming scene.
It's true. They're like the esports kings.
I've heard about those massive esports arenas they have over there,
Oh, yeah, they're incredible.
packed with fans watching people play video games professionally.
It's a huge industry in Korea.
But how did they become so good at it?
Well, a few factors contributed.
Like what?
First off, they have incredible internet infrastructure.
Really fast internet speed.
Oh, yeah, some of the fastest in the world.
That makes sense for gaming.
Absolutely. And then there's the whole PC bang culture.
PC Bang. What's that?
It's basically like an internet cafe, but way cooler.
Okay.
They're everywhere in Korea, and people go there to play games, socialize. It's a whole social scene.
So it's like they've created this breeding ground for esports talent.
Exactly. Kids grow up immersed in this gaming culture.
Makes sense. And then there's also that Korean work ethic, right?
Oh, yeah. They're known for their dedication and discipline.
Which definitely translates well to the competitive world of esports.
Absolutely. They take their gaming seriously.
So they've taken these strengths
Mm-hmm.
and turned them into a global esports powerhouse.
It's a fascinating example of how they've adapted and innovated.
But as we've been discussing,
Yeah.
there's this underlying tension in South Korea
Definitely.
between the collective success and the individual well-being.
It's a constant struggle to find that balance.
And that's what we'll be exploring further in the next part,
Looking forward to it.
when we dive deeper into the hidden struggles that many South Koreans face.
It's a crucial part of understanding the full picture of this complex and fascinating country.
All right, so welcome back to our final part of this deep dive on South Korea.
It's been a really interesting conversation so far.
It has, and I think we've covered a lot of ground. You know, we talked about the miracle on the Han River, the Korean Wave, the chaebols esports, but now it's time to dive into something a little bit more sensitive.
Yeah, we need to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah, the mental health crisis in South Korea.
Right.
You know, in previous parts, we mentioned that South Korea has one of the highest suicide rates in the world.
Yeah, it's a really concerning statistic.
It is, and it kind of forces us to look beyond those shiny exteriors
Mm-hmm.
and really confront the struggles that many people are facing.
Exactly. Because success comes at a cost.
It does. So let's talk about some of the factors that contribute to this mental health crisis.
Okay, well, one of the biggest factors is the intense pressure to succeed.
Right, we talked about that before.
We did, but it's worth emphasizing because it really permeates every aspect of Korean society.
From a young age, kids are put on this track to excel academically.
Yeah, the education system is incredibly demanding.
And then that pressure just continues into adulthood with the work culture.
Right. Long hours, intense
She's
competition,
like a never-ending cycle.
and it takes a toll.
It does. So what about seeking help?
I was going to say that.
Is there like a stigma around mental health in the Korea?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of shame associated with mental illness.
So people are less likely to reach out for support,
Exactly. They try to hide their struggles.
which just makes things worse.
Of course, it isolates them and prevents them from getting the help they need.
It's like this vicious cycle.
It is, and it's something that needs to change.
Yeah. So are things changing? Is there any movement towards greater awareness and acceptance of mental health issues?
Well, there are some encouraging signs.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's a growing movement to destigmatize mental health.
Especially among younger generations.
Exactly. They're more open to talking about it and seeking help.
Really important.
It is,
Yeah.
because breaking down that stigma is the first step towards creating a more supportive environment.
And hopefully a healthier society.
Right, a society that values well-being just as much as achievement.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into South Korea,
Mm.
I think it's safe to say that we've uncovered a nation of complexities.
Yeah, a nation of contrasts.
On the one hand, we have this incredible economic success, the global cultural influence, the technological innovation. But on the other hand,
We see the societal pressures, the mental health challenges, and the struggle to find a balance.
it's a reminder that progress isn't always linear.
And that every society has its strengths and its weaknesses.
Exactly. And I think South Korea's story offers valuable insights
It does.
into the challenges and opportunities that come with navigating the complexities of progress.
We can learn a lot from their experiences, both the successes and the struggles.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating journey,
I agree.
and we hope this deep dive has given you a more nuanced understanding of South Korea.
A country that's much more than just K-pop and kimchi.
It is. It's a country with a rich history, a vibrant culture, and a complex present.
And it'll be interesting to see how their story continues to unfold.
Absolutely. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions because there's always more to discover.
That's the beauty of it.
Until next time, stay curious.